Welcome to Bahujan Samvad, the YouTube channel. We are running this channel for last 6 years, but this is the first episode. We have started our English program today, and our first guest is Mr. Feroz Mithi Borwala, who is a very known international figure on the question of Middle East issues and particularly the issue of Palestine. He is the General Secretary of India-Palestine Solidarity Forum. He also leads the India-Iran Friendship Society also, and he is part of the civil society of India, and he is a very important pillar from Mumbai. So welcome to this show, Feroz Bhai. And my first question is that we'll be talking about the upcoming midterm election in US. A lot of people think that in the coming midterm elections, Republican Party is going to be defeated. And the particular reason for that is the issue of Israel. Means the way the Americans have taken, or American administration has taken its view towards Israel. So people are against it, people are fed up with it, and so they'll be giving their sort of reaction in this midterm election. So what do you think about it, Mr. Feroz Miti Barwala?
Actually, you're right, Suryamji, and thank you for starting the English programs of Bhojan Samad. Because over the last 6 years, we've been doing some excellent discussions on international affairs, and they've been appreciated by the Hindi audience in our country. And that is why I think it's important to now, have the English, the programs as well, because we have great quality in Bhojan Samad. The point being that the midterms are in November, but why are we discussing it today? Why discussing the US midterms 4 or 5 months before they are actually happening in November? The point is that the big turning point is the recent primary elections in New York and in other parts of America, where the defining question that separates, I'm only talking within the Democratic Party, I'll explain what I'm saying, is the issue of Israel. Now, just 2 days ago, there was such a big victory for one young a democratic socialist. Her name is Kera Millar, yeah, and she is basically an Ethiopian immigrant, just 33 years old. Supporting Palestine, she lost her job in Columbia University. And today she managed to defeat a 30, someone who's been to Congress for the last 30 years, who has won the Congress seat for 15 years. She has defeated that lady. And that lady said, if you don't like my politics on Israel, don't vote for me. And she lost that election. So we know that the victory of Zohran Mamdani, what made him different from the rest of the other progressives in the Democratic Party, was he had the guts to say that there is a genuine committed in Gaza, that I will not go to Israel. That is what made him hit the headlines across America. That who's this guy who's not refusing to bow to AIPAC, the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee? Who is this political leader who's saying I will not go to Israel? Who is this political leader in an election cycle is saying a genocide was committed in Gaza? That's what separated Zohran Mamdani. And again, I'd like to emphasize that Kamala Harris lost to Trump because of the position of the Biden-Kamala Harris government on the issue of Gaza, because during the Biden term, the Gaza genocide actually happened. So I know from friends in America, progressive friends who would have voted for the Democratic Party, but they did not vote, and other millions did not vote for Democratic Party because of the Kamala Harris, being aligned with Israel. So it is clear that the Israeli issue has now emerged as the very central issue in the.
Rose Bhai, I would like to just interrupt and ask you. Means there's a very thin line between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party on the question of Israel, and the Jewish lobby is very, very influential in U.S. politics. So, what do you have to say about it?
Actually, there's no thin line. There is no line between the two. When it comes to Israel, they are all together. In the current, the 535 members of the Senate and the Congress, I think 90% plus are backed by the Israeli money. Okay. So the point is now a breakthrough is happening. That is why we are discussing the midterms today. I will just explain the American political system first, so we understand what these elections are about. See, like we have the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. The Lok Sabha, there is the US Congress, and there are 435 members over there, but they have only 2-year terms. So every 2 years they have to go to the people. Okay, that's one part. And then you have the Senate, which has 100 members, and there you have to go to the people every 6 years. Okay, so in the Congress is where it is upon the proportion of the state. So California being the biggest state will have 50 Congress members, and Wyoming being a small state will have one seat. It is very much like India. And then in terms of the upper house, the Rajya Sabha, which they call the Senate, every state has 2 members. It could be California, it could be Wyoming, but every state will send 2 senates. That's one part. The second thing is that every 2 years, as I said, the Congress members will have to, like even like AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she also has to stand for a primary within the party to be, that she can fight the elections in November. Now, there are two things very healthy about American democracy. Number one is the primaries. It is not like our political system that the party ticket is given in closed rooms and you give money and the party dealt out tickets. Here, if you want your party ticket, if there are 10 candidates, they have to come in front of the party workers, and then there is a debate about what your agenda is, and then the party workers vote for you, and there you get your ticket. So it is a very open contest, which is why such the Democratic Socialists are winning, because this is an open contest within the party. Otherwise, there was no way they would ever got tickets if Kamala Harris and the others were in charge of giving tickets. The second thing is the midterms are a check and balance on the US government. Today, Trump is worried. I think one of the reasons why he's gone in for an agreement with Iran, the MOU, was because he's worried about the midterm elections, the inflation, the oil prices. He realized that if this carries on, there is no way I'm coming back. And if Trump doesn't come back with a majority in the Senate, Congress, he's going to go in for impeachment. So what really? So then what happens? Every 2 years you have these midterms. You have the midterms in after 2 years of the presidency, and then you have the 2028 elections coming up. So as far as the Senate is concerned, every 2 years you have 1/3 of the members standing for elections. So that rotation keeps on happening. Your 6-year term is there, and then every 2 years, 1/3 of the members have, even the Senate members are standing for election. Okay. So this time 35 members will be standing. I'll come to that in a while. Now, so these elections that we are going to see in America, the reality is the number one issue is Israel. That is the defining issue. And I'll give you a simple example. Recently in Denver, one young organizer called Melat Keros, Ethiopian immigrant, she defeated someone who won the election for 15 times, 30 years. She's not in that role. She said, I was born when she was in Congress. But that lady Diana tried to target Melat Keros as a anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic, vagara vagara. And finally, she took a position. She supported the Palestine movement in the university, and she took very strong positions on the genocide. And she defeated someone who was like 15 times the Congress members. So what is happening now is that what Zohran, Mamdani and team have done is that shaken up the democratic establishment on two issues. One is Israel and the genocide, undoubtedly, the entire issue of US foreign policy and this blind support for Israel, right or wrong. And the second part is bringing back the values and morals and political ideology of social democracy, of social democrats back into US politics. And this is not something radical and communist, and this is prevalent in Western Europe. This is what Norway and the Scandinavian countries are all about. So what are they saying? Childcare, healthcare, universal healthcare, quality free education, housing for the middle classes, free bus travel. These are simple welfareist measures. This is nothing revolutionary, which they are trying to make it out that Zohran is a communist and these are extremists, radicals. See how they use the terminology. Supporting Israel is a matter of being a moderate Democrat. That is what they call them. You're supporting an extremist, genocidal state of Israel, and you're calling those Democrats as radicals. those who are opposing the war become radicals. So I'm very clear on what I'm saying. Israel
So,
is a Jewish.
you mean to say, Feroz bhai, you mean to say that it is not only the defeat of the Republican Party, but it is also the defeat of the establishment of the Democratic Party. Means those who were running the show and those who
Exactly.
were there, earlier, they were the presidents and they were the established
Exactly.
people. So, means this is inner democracy kind of thing. Means that this kind of discussion, the debate, the ideological debate is also taking place. So the churning in the not in the American society, but also within the Democratic Party is also happening, and it's a very
Yes.
welcome sign. Yes,
Yes.
so that's it.
Actually, that
That's
is
what you want to say.
that is the main issue. See, the Speaker of the the House, Mike Johnson, who's Trump's right hand, has said that we are worried because mini Zohran Mamdanis are popping up all over America. And now Zohran Mamdani has said that now a democratic socialist can win anywhere in America. So that is what the Republican establishment, but more than that, the Democratic establishment is worried. And who's the Democratic establishment? Kamala Harris, who wants to actually contest in 2028 again. Then there is Chuck Schumer, who's a Jewish leader of the Democratic Party. In fact, he's the most senior Democratic leader. He's very clear. Chuck Schumer has a statement that my responsibility is to keep the left with Israel. That is Chuck Schumer. He's again from New York. Then you have Hakeem Jeffries, a senator from New York, who's again pro-Israel. These are all AIPAC funded. I will come to one website called AIPAC Tracker, like who's taken how much money. So that has also been a big difference. Anyway, now coming back to the current US Congress and Senate, what are the numbers? In the US Senate, out of 100, the Republicans have 53 and the Democrats have 47. That include two independents. So there's a difference of 6 over there. Okay. In the US Congress, there are 435 members. The Republicans have 218 and the Democrats have 212. It's a matter of again 6 members. So the difference of only 12, which we will see in the midterms, which the Democrats are definitely going to overcome. Because right now the Democrats have a lead of 6 to 9% over Trump's Republican. Nobody could have seen this before the war on Iran. Okay, of this kind of a jump. As it is, Trump's tariff policy, Trump's ICE policy of targeting, the immigrant population, all this was going against Trump. But the Iran war has made it even a bigger gap between Trump's Republican Party and the Democrats. But more importantly, the work that Bernie Sanders did for so long, and which now Zohran Mamdani has brought to the limelight in the US and across America, across the world rather, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was told time and again that you are too left and far left for you to be electable. Today, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is leading the pack of Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Gavin Newsom. The Democratic establishment is now actually Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is leading them. That is the situation today. So,
I want to just, Feroz bhai, I just want to ask you whether the US attack on Iran, does this have made some impact? Because this situation would not have happened if means he did not do this kind of misadventure, and if the US had not attacked the Iran, then things would have been different. I think. What do you have to say
agreed,
about it? Means this
agreed,
is
agreed.
they have changed the situation like this.
Undoubtedly, undoubtedly. See, when Trump came to power defeating Kamala Harris, the Democrats were totally in disarray. They did not know how to respond. Okay. But the civil society out there was responding to Trump's authoritarian, I'm the king kind of attitude. So there was massive mobilization. We had like 4 to 5 million people coming out on the streets, especially on the ICE issue. Uh, and but after that, after the attack on Iran, then because Trump lost his promises from the election, the MAGA base, make America great again. No more wars. I'm the peace president. I'm not going to have foreign interventions. Iraq was wrong. So all this that he promised the base, he went against. And the other big issue is his betrayal on the Epstein Files, because Trump had made it a promise of his election that I will come and expose the Epstein Files. So when it came to making the Epstein Files public, he kind of delayed it as much. Then they blackened the pages, so the names of the perpetrators were not seen. Okay, so that also they could see that Trump has betrayed on Epstein, Trump has betrayed on inflation, Trump has betrayed on war. So his fall became very, and unbelievably in red states like Texas. Texas is a hard red state, but the senator from there will be James Tellerico, who's a Democrat. In Florida, which is a red state now, you have mayors coming from Miami who are from the Democratic Party. So even the MAGA Republican base has been shaken up that what has this man gone and done? He has made a mess of the economy. He has taken us into another war. And we are fed up of the Israeli lobby. Israel has become now a central issue in the entire election. And I'll tell you one more thing. Kamala Harris and the Democratic establishment tried to cover up this entire Israel issue. In the report of the 2024 election debacle, the word Israel is not even mentioned in the report. The Gaza genocide is not mentioned in the report. It is only Ro Khanna. There are two Indians who are doing a great job, Ro Khanna and Pramila Jayapal. These are two American political leaders, and I hope Ro Khanna stands for presidency in 2028. He deserves it because he's been instrumental in getting the Epstein Files out. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey from the Republican Party. Okay, so I believe what's going to happen in the midterms is basically 35 Senate seats. First, we'll talk about the Senate. The Republicans are defending 22 seats and the Democrats are defending 13. So the Democrats have to defend the 13 and take 5-6 seats from the Republicans. It's very possible. Okay. I think it will be either 50-50 or the Democrats will get a 51-49 kind of majority in the Senate, which I think is really going to happen. And as far as the Congress is concerned, where you have 435 members, there the Democrats are going to gain between 20 to 30 seats. So that's where the big gain will come for the Congress. And I think as we come closer to the midterms, we will see, because there is a crisis for Trump. This Iran war has made a big problem for him. Now coming to
Before moving
yeah.
forward, I would like to just ask you, just to tell our viewers about this red and blue. Because a lot of people do not know about it. So as you mentioned about the Congress and the Senate, so similarly means the kind of, they say there is red states and these are blue states, that kind of thing. So what is the differentiation and what is the basis for that?
Sorry, I just missed the question. Please repeat the question.
Red and blue, different states have, they are termed as red or blue. So what is the basis for that?
Okay, sorry. Yeah. The blue states are basically the Democratic Party color, and the red states are the Republicans. And there's one more term called swing states that are like independent voters. You don't know where it's going to go. So many times the elections come down to a state like Ohio or many other smaller states where the elections swing. So there is also a problem with the American election system. It's an older system where each state has an electoral, like California has 50 seats. Whoever wins, if you win 30 seats, you get all the 50 seats. So it's a bit of a weird kind of system also, where people are demanding that we do away with this system and go for direct presidential elections. Whoever gets the majority. So Hillary Clinton can get the majority of the votes, but then she doesn't get the majority of the seats and she can lose the election. It happens that way also. That requires more explanation, but we don't have time for that today. Now, see, the point is why we are discussing all this today and why these elections the primaries are being discussed the world over, because Zohran Mamdani has just nobody. I didn't know his name a year ago, and today Zohran Mamdani is amongst the top 3 popular leaders in America. His name is taken in line with Obama. Obama is still popular. Okay, Bernie Sanders and Zohran Mamdani. These are the top 3 national leaders in America today. It's not even Alexander Ocasio-Cortez. It is Zohran Mamdani. Okay. Now, what Zohran Mamdani did, you can imagine you have Chuck Schumer, you have Hakeem Jeffries, and you have the governor, Kathy Hochul of New York. These 3 endorsed the Democratic establishment candidates. Zohran Mamdani endorsed the Democratic Socialist Party members. And Zohran Mamdani's candidates defeated the democratic establishment. So now the entire democratic establishment is scared because Zohran Mamdani is actually talking of the working class families which the Democratic Party abandoned, which went to Trump in 2020 in the last election cycle. Okay, because a lot of the working class families in New York voted for Trump in the last election. So Zohran Mamdani went to them. Why did you do it? He's saying the Democratic Party has forgotten working class families, and Trump is talking about us. Trump is talking of the post-industrial America, the workers who lost their jobs. Y'all are not doing it. So what the Democratic Party did, they made it all about identity politics, and they were not talking of the class politics. And Zohran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders have now managed to do that again. Okay, so he talks of the immigrant families, the working class families, but he always talks of working class families. And what has Zohran Mamdani in the last 6 months is done unbelievable work. He had promised rent freeze. He has done it. Okay. He has frozen the rent for the next 2 years for 1 million houses. And I'll tell you one more thing. Out of these 1 million houses, 90% and more are owned by massive corporations. They're not, owned by private owners. They're owned by massive corporations over there. So the other thing that Zohran has done, universal childcare, saving massive amount of money for working mothers and families. Okay. Then what Zohran has done is basically he has moved towards universal healthcare. He has balanced the budget. Unbelievable. Within a matter of 6 months, he balanced the budget also. He has filled in more than 1 lakh potholes in New York. Can you believe there are more than 1 lakh potholes in New York? He went on the road to fill. Within 3 months, he filled the potholes of New York. He has now allocated a budget for parks and libraries and swimming pools to make it accessible for working class families. So he's doing such wondrous work, and this is not some revolutionary communist kind of work. This is basically any social welfare democratic state in Europe has these, systems in place for the people. So people are saying after a long time he's seeing a mayor who's actually doing work for the people, not only giving promises and then disappears for 4 years. So the Zohran Mamdani model of grassroots mobilization, when he started, he was talking to people on the road. Nobody knew him. But finally, you had 90,000 people working for Zohran Mamdani's campaign, knocking on doors against the millions of multi-million dollar campaign of the Jewish AIPAC lobby that was trying to defeat him. So Zohran Mamdani wins in New York, where he was called a Muslim, a terrorist. It can be another 9/11 attack, a jihad, Shariat law will come. What not they did fear mongering regarding Zohran. Now the three candidates I'll discuss who basically helped, who Zohran endorsed. Number one is Brad Lander. Brad Lander is Jewish. He's a friend of Zohran, and he's a liberal Zionist. Brad Lander took a clear position against the genocide in Gaza. Okay, and he took a position against AIPAC money. American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, the strongest lobby in America. If they back you, you win. But now it is different. If they back you, you are more bound to lose. So Brad Lander defeats Dan Goldman, who's a multimillionaire, backed by AIPAC, who's pro-Israel, who's a two-term congressman, two-term member of parliament, and Brad Lander defeats him. So that's a big message from Zohran that my friend who's Jewish is standing with me, not with you guys. And Brad Lander wins from an area where there's a big Jewish population in New York. New York, we know, it's a massive Jewish city. Okay. So that was number one. And of course, Brad Lander talks of affordability, basically the democratic socialist agenda. The other big figure who won is another young 32-year-old organizer. Her name is Daria Aliza Avila Chevalier from New York 13. And she again took a clear position on the Gaza genocide. And she defeated the Adriana Espelat, chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. I mean, a big leader within the democratic establishment gets defeated by a first-time challenger. Then you have Claire Valdez from New York 7. She again defeats a sitting, democratic establishment. So what has happened is the democratic establishment is scared now. They are trying to tell Zohran, listen, you are now overstepping, and they're also saying the democratic socialists are not a part of the Democratic Party. All this is going on. And Zohran has his own, he doesn't scream and shout. He's got his own smile. He waves at people. He's meeting people every day. He doesn't sit in his office. Every day you have Zohran announcing some act or the other of all that he had promised. So he's working very hard. And it's a $134 billion budget. New York is look at, I mean, it's one city which is like, kind of money available there, and amount of work this man is doing. One other Palestinian lady, one other Arab is also fighting for the Senate, Abdel Saeed. So a lot of things are happening. But special credit needs to be given to two people who actually formed an AIPAC tracker in 2024, Corey Archibald and Casey Kennedy. What happened is, now we know that the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee would fund both the parties. Okay. And Jamal Bowman and Corey Bush were progressive anti-Israeli organizers. Money was poured into their campaign to defeat them. But there was no counterbalance to AIPAC. Nobody talking against them and nobody actually creating a fund to target and support other candidates. The Jewish lobby has too much money, you can't compete with them. So how do you compete with them? You compete by grassroots organizing, you draw in money from people, and then you raise the issue of Israel, the genocide, and that's how they're winning. But what Corey Archibald and Casey did is they created an AIPAC tracker. Which senator, which congressman, woman has taken money from AIPAC? How much money have they taken? And in the Congress and the Senate, where have they voted? So the entire voting record, everything was on the website. Okay. And now it is so open that in the public, as I said, you have to have a debate. So you are asked, have you taken AIPAC money? No, I have not taken. You taken? Yes, I have taken. And they say, I have taken, but I will not take again. Now to take AIPAC money, Israeli lobby is like you're becoming an untouchable, so to speak. Okay. I mean, it has become a negative point now. That's how American politics has turned post 7th October. It's not only about Iran. Actually, the biggest turning point has come after 7th of October, where people have seen the genocide, people have understood the occupation. And if you go to the figures of where America stands today, 80% of the Democratic Party youngsters, where the energy comes from, are anti-Israel. A majority of Republican youngsters are also anti-Israel. The older generation, 50 plus in the Republican Party, is pro-Israel, 70%, but that is also coming down. Today, there's a news announcement of the Presbyterian Church saying that there's a Gaza genocide and we want a boycott of Israel. It's happening within the churches. Okay. So a lot of changes are coming around, and the majority of the Democratic Party, 60% to 70%, across all ages, is against Israel. The workers, the members. Okay. So that
it
is
is
now the point that the party is saying, the workers are saying something, and the democratic establishment is sitting with Israel.
so it's not only political parties, but within the society also, within the various groups of the society, things are changing very fast. And
Yes.
this is a good lesson for the whole world. And particularly because now we are just in the end of the show. So I
Yes.
would just ask you that what do you think that what will be the impact of all these things in the Israeli elections? Because they are also going to have the elections in Israel, and
Yes.
means Netanyahu is going to be defeated. That is the kind of buzz in the media. So what do you have to say about it? And this is the last question.
Okay. Actually, Trump is also losing, and Netanyahu is definitely losing. Again, in the Israeli parliament, Knesset as it's called, there are 120 seats. Until now, Likud, that is Netanyahu's party, would get 31, 32 seats and then link up with other smaller parties and get a majority of 61 to 64 seats. But this time, Netanyahu from 31, 32 is going down to 20, 21. And his partner is also in trouble. At the most, his coalition is going to get 49 to 50 seats, not more than that. That is why Netanyahu is desperate for a larger war. That is why when the MOU gets signed, he's trying to create a civil war in Lebanon. Because if there is no solution to Lebanon, then the final agreement Iran will not sign with America. So all this is going on. So he's desperate. The other point also, let me tell you that there is a video by Al Qaeda that we are going to assassinate Trump. There is one Jewish think tank in Israel that has said that a 9/11 or a Pearl Harbor will happen in America. Then they will know who their friends are and who their enemies are. So the next 3-4 months are very dangerous for America, for the world, as to what. Because even with Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's funeral, there's a Mossad threat to assassinate the new supreme leader, Ayatollah Moshtaba Khamenei, the son. So Mossad is capable of the worst that you can think of. So they don't give any damn about the world liking us and what will be public opinion. They believe they are the supreme people of the world, and this God is only their God. We are all like, less than insects or animals. So we have to watch
So,
what
Feroz
happens.
bhai,
Yeah.
we will be discussing the issue of Lebanon in
Yes.
other program.
Yes.
We'll be discussing that, what are the lessons for Indian politicians and Indian political parties from the American politics also. So we have a lot of things to discuss. And
Yes.
today we have discussed, very widely, and I really admire your kind of knowledge you have about the American politics. Even the US politicians do not have so much understanding and in-depth knowledge about the US politics. So I really congratulate you for that. And I thank you for joining this program. And I hope that we'll continue this English program in the coming days on Lebanon and on other issues. Thank you very much, Mr. Feroz Mitivora, for joining Bahujan Samvad. Thank you very much.
Thank you.